Welcome back to LaidOPEN Podcast. I'm Charna Cassell. My online course, Pathways to Peace, Mindful Practices for Transformative and Vibrant Living, is now open for ongoing enrollment, which means you can do it at your own pace and fit it into your schedule in any way that it works for you. As for the coursework, you'll receive 4 weeks worth of daily videos where I teach you how to understand your nervous system and its reactions, how to think more clearly and gain perspective, how to translate the ways your body communicates through physical sensations, identify your emotions, where they come from, and what they're telling you, how to discover why you react in ways that produce shame and learn tools to manage these reactions, how to reduce your anxiety and destructive impulses, and how to diminish self-hatred when you're not your best self. You can also sign up for weekly coaching calls where I offer you direct support and answer your questions, and you get connected to a community of like-minded people with me. If you want to learn more, you can go to my courses page. It's courses.charnacassell. That's CharnaCassell.com for more information. Our guest today is the embodiment of love. She has worked hard to get to that place with loving herself, but she really exudes love to the people around her and embodies a really powerful presence. And her life's path is very much in alignment with prayer and intentionality. So she uses oils that she makes, perfumes that she makes, um, dance. She creates community in a variety of different ways. And I think she has a lot of wisdom to offer around self-love and ways of listening to your own rhythm. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I enjoy every moment I get to spend with her. So hopefully that gets transmitted through this conversation. And I encourage you to listen all the way to the end because she has a stunning voice and I ask her to sing one of my favorite songs she sings. Today's guest is Natalie Silva of God's Eye Oils and Made of Stars. Welcome, Natalie. Learn how to live embodied. Your life is about to unwind. Uncover new tools and start healing. Leave trauma and tension behind. Isn't it great laid open? Let all your desires come true. How can you live laid open? Imagine yourself brand new. Imagine yourself brand new.
Thank you so much, Charna. I'm so happy to be sitting with you. I love you so much. Thank you for inviting me.
I adore you, and I am just I'm thrilled that we got this together and that you're making this time. I really appreciate it because I know that you're very committed to saying yes to things that bring you pleasure and feel really good and saying no to everything else. And so the fact that I made it into that bucket feels awesome to me.
Oh, big time. Yeah. It's all about also, saying yes to the things that are scary, and I feel like when we agreed to do this, there was such a big prayer on board that was just about vulnerability and being seen exactly as I am, where I am in my life. And so thank you for being such a safe person in that way, and a person that does feel instantly like, what a pleasure for me to find out about myself more through what we're going to do today, because I have no idea what's going to happen. And I feel like that's such a big part of my purpose in this life, is to be seen in vulnerability, in the no preparation. It's like, this is me as I am. And so thank you for being someone that I could be myself with. I feel really, really honored and grateful to know you in that way.
And I want you to know the gift that you've given me in relation to that, because there's a part of me that loves researching. And I have a thing of like, I really like to prep. I tend to write like 20 questions for every guest, and I usually ask one or two and then I off-road. So there's a way that doing no prep to be here with you. Like, I'm like, okay, I know I've sat with this woman in ceremony, been in your glorious, remarkable presence for, a few days at a time. And there was nothing to read, there was nothing to do. And that's something that I'm also working on. It's like, how do I be loved for just being and not what I do, not in a transactional relationship, not in a like, I'm going to make it better for you in some way. So I love this. I love that we just get to be together.
Totally. And it is no mistake to me that that's what showed up for us to do, because it's a
Mhm.
big prayer for me too. And
Mhm.
I think that in the past, every time that I have tried to prep or research, it has either led to me not even doing the thing because I've really just been too much in the future about it, or, what it just became not enjoyable.
Mhm.
And so it just feels like thank you to the universe, to creator, to everything that has created this moment for us to be practicing this right now without even having to talk about that we were going to do it this way.
Mhm.
It's happening and presenting itself to me over and over again that like it's okay to just show up as I am today and let come forth what wants to be birthed today and shared with people so that they can do that. It's like there's no
Mhm.
resistance anymore, and I appreciate all the research. It's just the duality. I
Mhm.
appreciate your research. I will appreciate and love all of your questions.
Mhm.
And yeah, thank you for the time that you take to do everything that you do. And thank you for the not time. The time that you don't take today to just be with me in this moment in our relationship that is just still new and becoming. So I love
Mhm.
it. What
Mhm.
a gift.
It's a very merry untime to dance
Hmm.
together.
Yeah. A very merry on time with you. I love it.
So, yes. And I want to talk with you, and you've mentioned prayer a couple times, and I want to talk to you about the role of prayer in your life and how it's come to be so central and how you relate to it, how you use it, how you engage with it.
Yeah, it's been such when I first came to my first ceremony and even learned to pray in a way that made sense to me, that I really connected with, to witness other people's prayers and to
Mm.
feel so connected to their prayers and have their prayers be my prayers, from that, that was, I don't know, over 15 years ago now in the ceremonies where I pray. Like my life now and the people that I surround myself with, conversation is a prayer now. It's all a prayer, and every moment that I'm sharing with someone feels like an opportunity to pray. Like all of my words feel like prayers now. And,
Mm.
you know, where God's eye came from that place, came from those ceremonies, came from making prayers, came from hearing the prayers of other people and really hearing the call for help and tools to remember and connect to our prayer in everyday life, not just,
Mhm.
okay, here's ceremony. This is a special part of my life. And I'm like this here. And then I go back into my world and I'm a totally different person. And then the needing to come back to ceremony for people over and over again to go, well, I need to remember I need help. And
Mm.
God's eye was birthed because scent is such a powerful tool of remembrance to help people in their everyday life remember and connect with their prayers. And I would leave those ceremonies smelling like incense and smelling like Florida water, it was the way that I would be able to stay in my prayer in my life. So
Mm.
prayer is the center of everything. It's also a very weird and charged word because people have come from whatever religious backgrounds they've come from that have, made prayer feel weird. And, so I feel the vulnerability in sharing that word
Mhm.
and saying that word. And,
Mhm.
you know, I just, I think I always want to get across that like everything is welcome. And, prayer is so personal. This is our relationship to our creator in whatever way we believe that to be. And
Mhm.
every ceremony that I sit in now, as I
Mm.
facilitate ceremonies with my sister, it's just, it never gets old to me and is never lost on me what an honor it is to witness people pray. It's so intimate and so vulnerable and so personal and also so relatable.
Mhm.
We really learn about ourselves through the prayers of others, and we aho them and they are ours, and we don't even need to say them again because somebody took the time to open themselves up to the channel of their highest self, to their creator, and like allow a prayer to flow through. And it changed my whole life.
Yeah.
It changed my whole life. So
Mm.
it's everything.
Yeah, yeah. And there's so many things that you said that I could speak to. First, the prayer, I'm very grateful that I wasn't raised there. I had a lot of different kinds of trauma, but religious trauma was not one of them. There
Mhm.
was a break with God, I think, in utero, and I had to find my way out of that and started to be able to say the word God and not get weird wiggly feelings in my body in my late 20s. But I don't have to heal a very rigid black and white relationship to good and evil and black, all of that. And so
Mhm.
I can hear prayer as as what it is, but then of course, yeah, there's very different associations. Um, it's one of the things that I love about sitting in ceremony with you and just in general, it's the piece of other people's prayers being my prayers. Like
Mhm.
every single thing, you really, really realize how universal and how connected we are and how much we all need the same things.
Yeah.
And, getting up there and sitting in front of the altar, it's like the very specific piece shows up, but you can just trust that all the other prayers, maybe after you're like, oh, I didn't say this, I didn't say that. Oh, there's this. And it's like all of that, because we are all one and connected, they
Mhm.
get attended to through the other people's prayers, right?
Totally.
Um, and that's one of the things that reminder of unification rather
Mhm.
than separation and disconnection that we're all afflicted with.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. I've often in ceremony can actually see
Mhm.
the visual of
Mm.
this diamond studded web that we are
Mhm.
all connected by. And it's very spidery, but it's also
Mhm.
like very the succulent that we're praying with,
Mhm.
that gooiness, that
Mhm.
stringiness, that connectedness, like I can see it.
Yeah.
And, the it's only ourselves getting in our own way anytime that we feel separate or we're not a part of that, or like, oh no, I didn't make that prayer, so it's not mine, and I didn't say it, and I didn't perform for everybody. Like it's all covered. We are all held. I know we've sat in just this past ceremony of like how many people are praying to
Mm.
let go of everything they think they're holding together. Like,
Mm.
I'm holding everybody. I love all these people. I love them so well. I love them so well. And I want, and like really the physical, like, oh, like being able to let that go and just trust
Mhm.
that they're held and you're held, and you can allow yourself to really experience that. And like all the times where we're human beings and we forget, and that's all okay too.
Mhm.
Just like it's all safe. We're all held. And yeah, I share this with you too. I didn't have an experience growing up where I was like forced to be in a Catholic church and it was terrible. And also I didn't have really any spirit. I mean, my dad is like Catholic and loves to pray, and we would go to like, midnight mass on Christmas Eve or whatever. And it was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And when people would die, we would have a very religious funeral experience. So like I was around it, but I didn't feel traumatized by any of it, but also I didn't feel brought into it in a way or taught anything about any of it, or even offered, that there are options out there. There's so many ways to pray and so many ways to
Mhm.
connect to spirit, so, and none of it's a problem. and also as a mother now that has ceremony in the middle of my house, and my son prays in the way that we pray all the time, which is also held very loosely because I don't want to force anything on him, but watching and being able to sit in ceremony and pray with my son and have him really connect to himself in that way and his power in that way and his connection to everything and everyone and his gratitude for everything and everyone, and really learning the story of the lineage of our prayer, and then also being able to invite in who he is and what he is bringing to that. And it's all good, and come if you want, don't come if you don't want. But I'm so grateful to be also offering a connection to spirit to my son in a way that feels on purpose and, undeniable that it's here. It's in the center of our life. There's people here at least twice a month praying, crying, being vulnerable, speaking out loud about very, very intimate details about their lives, being so honest about themselves. Like, I think that's what blew me away before anything was like, I had never heard people take such responsibility for their lives in my whole life and apologize or, even speak to their loved ones in a room praying together about what was happening between them. It's like I was raised in we don't talk about it. Oh yeah, I did that really terrible thing and we're just gonna pretend it didn't happen, and now I'm gonna behave in this way and we're just gonna let that go and we're gonna like stuff it all down and get real sick and do all that stuff. And it's like the truth that is here and present and everything that we're all sharing together. It's like I'm so happy that my son gets to learn that too.
I love that part of the kids being in the house. I mean, I grew up, I had family in Marin. I had a step family that I lived with. And so, I joke that the only rituals, it was like, drugs, drinking, and some tonkas on the walls. But there wasn't any kind of grounded meditation that was taught. There were certain principles that were held. But the kids, there was just this kind of free for all. It felt very, very, very uncontained and unsafe. And there's something so different and wholesome and sweet. It's very healing for me to have the kids kind of at different times come in and stand there wanting to like show a picture they drew, but witnessing somebody speaking really empowering phrases about being a woman. And then, and then your sister being able to like step aside, be the sweetest, most present mother of like, I love you. And I really look forward to seeing that. And then turning back to, it's like so profound, the quality of presence and being able to be in multiple roles at the same time seamlessly. There is a level of integrity and cleanliness in the space that my system is so sensitive. I've craved community and I've kept myself out of community because I'm so impacted.
Yep.
And so when I met your sister, and I want to kind of, I don't know what she wants me to share, so I'll just leave names out.
Listen, I think we should share everything about her. We have to shout her name from the rooftops and tell the world about the miracle of Erica Wright. So if people don't know her, they should know her. We can talk about, I mean, everything that you're saying, we're going to continue on because that piece about the kids coming in and really all that's happening is just being in surrender all the time and resisting the urge to resist. Like, this person is here right now. They have something to say to me. If I tell them, no, hold on, it's just going to make it harder. But what if I just in this very moment turn to them and say, I love that. I love what you've made for me. Thank you so much. It just is going with the flow. And then that person feels seen and it just moves seamlessly. And it's like, it is such a skill. And I love that you said that. I notice it every time. And also this last ceremony I really felt that too. The choice that we have in every moment to not just say, this is what's here, right now, looking at me and talking to me. And it's a prayer I made. That baby that walked into that room was a prayer my sister made. And now this person is here and they're looking at me, talking to me, and they made me a Valentine. And I can either shush them and tell them that they need to wait their turn and be quiet, or I can turn to them for just a second and say, I see you and thank you. And like it just rolled on perfectly.
Yeah.
None of it was a problem. She got it. She felt seen.
Mm.
No, also, we're not, teaching our children to just be rude and do a thing. Like she knows. And also, like, my God, the witnessing of these girls seeing their mother as the medicine woman that she is and the powerhouse that she sits there and in the ways that she speaks and talks, like that's their mama.
Yeah.
Like, wow, what's possible for them through the witnessing of her magnificence blows my mind every time. It's never lost on me. I could watch it forever. And I can't wait to see what they do, who they become,
So moving, so moving. And because of my childhood, there's a level of vigilance in my system where I'm tracking spaces always and tracking the people who are holding the spaces and watching for the kids. And there's an overdoing habit in my system around that.
Yeah.
And that's a part that gets to relax. And so returning to the piece of like the cleanliness and integrity in the space, the first, when I met Erica, I had a complete yes. And I have not, I'm very careful about the spaces I put my body in. And it just feels so good. There's so much love. And so coming to that, just one of the things that I just love about you and I love about her is this, God, this incredible field of love that the two of you generate with each other and in the whole room. And it's a value that I hold, which is not putting romantic love at the apex. Like this is the top and this is the end all be all. And then like friendships come later and you hold, so it's like a deprioritizing friendships or sisterhood. So if you could speak to that, it's like, is that something, have you always had that level of intimacy with your friends? Or was there a shifting point and you met Erica or?
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to say that it's been, we're soulmates. We're actually more than soulmates. We're one soul split in two. We have been shown that many times. We have had many readings that have shown that to us. We have been shown in the stars and the cosmos that that's what's happening. And it's also been shared with us that there have been many lifetimes that we haven't found each other. And they've been hard. So I want to say that's a real thing. And we both share in this lifetime before we met each other, having a really hard time with our female friendships and relationships. I think we're both really big people. We're both really beautiful people. We're both very sensitive people. And I've had beautiful friendships with women and I've also been hurt really deeply by women in my life. And I know that is a thing that we're all healing. It was, one of the things that was almost instantly healed when we found each other again in this lifetime it was like a soul coming back together. It was stars colliding. It was, it was at a party. It involved a lot of gin and tonics and cocaine and rock and roll. And we found each other and we were inseparable ever since. And we bonded in a way that was like, we knew that we were healing female competition and that was our purpose in our love together. And it was like all we ever do and did from that moment was say yes to each other. It was like we were listening to music and every song that came on was like, oh my God, I love this song. Let me play this song this song. And we're singing all of it. And like, do you want to start a band? Yes, let's start a band. Do you want to, it was like, it just kept going and our togetherness, it's a healing. It's an example of women truly loving each other, like in a way that I had never experienced like that. To be able to really surrender into that love at that level was not, I think it started for me with a very deep mother wound and really not being able to feel safe with my own mother and in women that way. So yeah, my relationship with Erica is the center of my life. And it is the center of our altar, and our ceremony is to help. It really, Made of Stars started with just women's ceremonies. We'd had women's retreats, and knowing that, and maybe not even knowing all of the time, that just by us being us was healing to witness for other women, that they could actually think like, I can make a prayer to have that. Like, I want that. I want that kind of love. So now I think that we really understand, like, as we grow, as we go through things, which my sister and I, which is unheard of, not that we haven't ever had disagreements or been like, ooh, something just happened there and we need to clean it up and clear it up. But like the way that we do it is something I've never, ever felt in my life, that is so safe. We can bring anything to each other. It is all held and honored and heard, and we get to still honor ourselves, and it's not codependent, and it's like, it's all healing each other. It's just like, it's a miracle. So I hear what you're saying. I feel the same way, that like, I'm so grateful that I get to have that relationship with her, that I don't have to put all of that on a romantic relationship, and that my needs are met in so many ways by my sister. And yeah, that we're doing something with women right now that's so important. It's so important for women to really, truly support each other, like really all the way. Like, biggest cheerleader in the whole world. Can't get enough of watching you, like, oof, be you, and also not get in the way. We don't, my sister is just so skilled at like just letting me figure it out too. She's always right there, but she doesn't want me to miss it. I don't want you to miss you getting it. It's like our families so often are like, you got to do this and don't do that. And I learned from and we're just like letting each other be, and we're right there. We're not going anywhere. Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah.
She's everything.
The piece around competition is so weird and painful. There was a level of that, my mom competing with me in a way that I didn't even see or have language for until like 20 years later, but
Yeah.
it prevented her from protecting me, and it was so painful. And
Yeah.
and so so instead of, I then took on a stance of being the cheerleader. That was my, just because I never wanted to be a threat to other women.
Totally.
Or if somebody was interested in me and we were both interested in them, I'd be like, step aside, kind of. That was kind of what I tended to do.
Yeah.
But to do it not from a trauma response, but I also feel like it's my nature, but I just love it. I love it so much. And I just feel like a sponge being around it, because I'm like, this is what I want it to be with everybody. And I feel like I have incredible women in my life, and I'm so blessed to have that. And having come from the queer world, like dating women till I was 30, there's more of that. Not to say there isn't weird, competition. There's totally that too, but so much less, so much
Totally.
more women love. And so it's a strange phenomenon when I started dating men and interacting with women and feeling that and being like, oh, this is what I avoided for so many years. Yuck.
Yeah, I feel that too. I've had the experience of playing small and really wanting, to make sure that everybody knew that I was safe. I'm a safe person. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to take your man. I'm not trying to get anything from you. So I would, just make myself smaller, like literally. And I'm also a big, giant, tall woman. So I would like stand so I was smaller. I would do everything to make sure that everybody around me knew that I was safe, and, was just doing myself such a disservice, and really being able to get to know myself and be my full whole self. And so finding Erica and really being able to feel what it feels like to be so supported and cheered on for that. And then, create even more ways to do that with like being on stage and wearing, spandex and like kicking our legs and screaming heavy metal together. Like,
You also were an S Factor dance teacher, which takes a level of being in your body and comfort with visibility. And I know that's going to be circling back around, but I'm curious if there was a point at which it's like, did something occur that had you fully step into that role and more ease with that?
Well, first of all, S Factor is where I met Erica. Erica was the manager of the S Factor studio. So S Factor is a empowered sensual movement pole dancing class for women only. It's like only women are allowed in the building, and the classes were always with a group of girls. It wasn't like, oh, you can just drop into a class and whoever's there is there. It was always the same people, and you came up with these same people through various levels, and because it's big, like to be in that environment and start to feel safe to move your body in a sensual way, and to like really, for me, embody this like inner, what Sheila Kelly, the woman that started S Factor, calls your erotic creature. Really embody this part of yourself that for me was like, God, I am so sexual and sensual, and I want to like let it out all the way. I want to be, I want to be Tawny Katane in the White Snake video. I want to like cherry pie all over the place. And I don't want anyone looking at me like, oh, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? And like, oh, I'm scared of, and it's just like, wow, finding this place where so many women were coming to that for the first time ever, really feeling safe doing that. And the piece of it that was so important, and why staying with your same group was so important, is part of the class was to cheer for everybody. So like when it was your turn to dance, you would dance by yourself in front of everybody, and every woman in the room was hooting and hollering, and just like and it also ended up being just so not just a Tawny Katane video. It was like dancing to, very slow emotional songs where sometimes you would just roll around on the ground and cry, and just like even just to be able to have permission to put your hands on your own body for, and just move at this pace that was like, oh, I could finally really feel myself, not just, feel my hands on my body, but really feel my body under my hands, and really like allow myself to just unfold and like let people see that. And, it being so healing and so emotional, it was the beginning of me healing my relationship with women for sure. And also it healed my eating disorder. I had a brutal eating disorder for years and years and years and years. And it was like the witnessing of other women's bodies in all of their shapes and sizes and textures and all of it, and like seeing the beauty in that, it healed me beyond. So, and it's so fun, and it's the best, like workout that I've found, because I really don't like to do anything unless it's fun and pleasurable and enjoyable for me. So it's like a room lit with just red lights with blasting music, and you just get to roll around on the ground and move your hips and, dry hump the ground. I'm in. I'm in. Wait. And just like the teachers, this is like, so many of those women are still, this is my family, like we never lost touch. Amanda Hunt was my teacher. She's an incredible jewelry maker. And she was my first teacher at S Factor, and we're still sisters. And she just, she led my body. She read my body. She helped me get to know my body. And so many other teachers there did the same thing. And so, and then I became a teacher. I'm ready to get back into it. I'm feeling the call again to teach and to hold space for women in that way, in a way that's all mine, in a movement that I feel like is coming through spirit, that I am inventing. It's a whole new thing, and it's just being birthed. And it's like what we're saying right now, where I'm just like, wow, I'm just available to what that is. And it's just going to be me. It's like my offering to the world, and that I know that I came in this world with abilities with my body as a channel that are like, I'm scared, I'm shaking even saying it, because it's like admitting some of those things that you just know about yourself that feel like, oof, what will that sound like? What will that sound like to the world, to like proclaim that I've been given a gift in this lifetime to share my body, and that something wants to come through and be offered. And I'm so grateful for the women that have watched me move my body that are like, I want to learn how to do that. Will you teach me how to do that? And I actually don't even know how it, it's like, this is coming through me, and I'm gonna attempt to share it in this way that feels like a prayer coming through. So
No
yeah, and it's
doubt.
gonna be hot and fun
Yeah.
and free and joyful and hilarious. It's like, it's all of me coming through, to hopefully be inspiring.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there for it.
Yeah, you are.
I'm so excited because one of the things kind of just that happens in ceremony, but I feel like you walk your talk, is this irreverence, the perfect balance of irreverence and reverence. And
Yeah.
it's like so often, the kind of the Goldilocks experience of like, oh, that's too rigid. There's no room for sex and sexuality. There's no room for humor. There's no only spirit, or, whatever it is. And having that perfect blend, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know if I've shared this with you, but I used to go to Rhythm and Motion, and I danced 6 days a week. And it was a massive healing for me to become embodied in that way, to land in myself, because I was incredibly uncomfortable with being seen before that. So
It's so vulnerable.
Oh God, and dance, I mean, having people, but just, it's also a remarkable way to go like, okay, this is my prayer, or this is my intention. Now I'm going to move my body in alignment with that. And so finding different dance forms that it's like, oh, this allows me to feel the water and fluidity in my body. This dance form allows me to feel the strength in my body. So I don't hesitate, to anyone listening. I just getting to see you walk around the altar, just the way that you move through space is beautiful and glorious. And so anyways, it's the invitation. Your existence is an invitation. And
Thank you.
I'm thrilled to see what it is. And I get that it's vulnerable to really admit and own the things we know to be true about ourselves. Like, who's going to judge us? Who's going to think you're arrogant? Who's going to, whatever it is that we decide people are judging. But it's a felt, palpable experience being in your presence. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I also came from an actual dancer background. I danced, like ballet, and did all of those things, and the unwinding of all of that and those rules too in that way. And yeah, it's the same as like witnessing people in their vulnerability and innocence, and like their purity, and their prayer is the same thing of like being able to unwind and deprogram all of our ideas about what beauty is, and what beautiful movement looks like, and perfect alignment and pointed toes and the things, but really seeing people's uniqueness and their individuality through the way that they move. Because I think that dancing in front of people and singing in front of people are probably the two scariest things that people could ever like allow themselves to do. And I cannot get enough of people's like true pure essence coming through. And like maybe that I could possibly create a space in a container where people felt safe enough to do that, and that I got to see that with my eyeballs, is like all that I want to do with my whole life. Is like, wow, thanks for letting me see you in all of your, just perfect imperfection, how you do you, how your body is like, and then there will hopefully be a piece, Erica and I have talked about this before too, of like having that like kind of voice, a space for a voice to come through in that way for people too, to like people that are like, I can't sing, but just like hearing people that really feel that about themselves sing with all their heart. Ooh. Oh, that's like God. That's God.
Yeah.
like, wow, like just so. Yeah, I'm so excited to watch your body move and see what it does and what it wants to do and how you are and how your toes are and how your wrists bend and how you hold your shoulders and just the preciousness of you. I can't wait to see that and anybody else that wants to come and be a part of it. And it's like being a example of like, hey, this is how you can move, but never wanting anybody to feel like they have to move like me. It's like, really, I want you to move like you. So yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
It's while you were talking and you mentioning singing, I had a flash to you singing during ceremony, and you sing the Dumbo song. And I mean, it just makes me cry. And so I really want to talk about your self-love practices, the different things that you do to just love yourself up. And I'm wondering, I don't know if you have a recording of yourself singing that. And if not, I want you to sing that for us.
I would love to sing that for us. And yeah, I think like it, again, perfect alignment. We're sitting here right now, doing this right now, talking about, loving ourselves in a self-love practice that, I think my whole coming to ceremony has always been like, I'm in a prayer to love myself. And how can I do that more? And just when we think like, oh yeah, I'm doing it, something else shows itself to be like, whoa, I'm really faking it. I'm not really there. Like there are so many ways that I am, and I am constantly in a bigger prayer to love myself more. And what has, worked so far. Dance is such a huge part of it. Music is such a huge part of it. Nature is such a huge part of it. Like, I think right now I am in, this is a whole new level of getting to know myself as I'm in perimenopause, as I'm in like this descent so much deeper into myself, as I am in and have experienced. I think I'm really allowing myself to feel so much grief and, new things arising and happening that like send me deeper into my grief, to get deeper, deeper, deeper into myself, to even know what it is I really want. What do I really want, and how do I really like it? And, that a self-love practice can also be a rage practice. Like, I'm just like, I'm in this place of also just being so comfortable with the parts of myself that I think I was so afraid to let other people see, that aren't, oh yeah, she's a beautiful dancer and she wants to offer these things and she holds these ceremonies and she's so great and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I really want all of the parts of myself to be seen. I am full of anger. I'm full of rage. And, I think it's about really listening to those parts of myself now and really loving them up and choosing a good thing to do with myself in those moments where in the past I might choose addiction to something I'm addicted to. I'm grateful for my sobriety. That has changed my life. I've been sober for almost 6 years now, but that was a big place to numb out. Now there's just less and less places to hide. And I'm just really finding out even who I am. And so like the self-care practices right now are so much slowing down. I have been a go-getter. I am an ambitious motherfucker and I want all these things. And it's like I'm moving at the speed of light most of the time, and now I'm not. I'm just like really trying to slow down and be with myself, learning even more about a mindfulness practice. Adam Moskowitz is an incredible mindfulness teacher in that way, that's guiding me. And I just had this other great idea the other day that I have a blank wall in my room. I rearrange my house all the time. That's a self-care practice. I move all my stuff around, like that's helpful. And I have a blank wall in my room where I just want to like write all over it, all of the things that I need to remember. Like, these are the things that make you feel good, Natalie. Put your legs up the wall for 20 minutes. Go on a nature rage walk, which means like go in nature and go find a tree and scream into it. Grab some dirt and throw it and like have all your feelings, take a bath, go to the sauna, go to a yoga class. Like, I'm also, it's hard to remember all the time, you know? I'm a mom. I have all kinds of things to do. So it's like, slow down. And really, I think in my prayer on Saturday was like luxuriating in myself so slowly and like really demolishing time when it comes to how deeply and thoroughly I can love myself.
I had a question about that. So I'm in a similar practice around slowing down, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a piece that I'm so curious about asking for help,
Yeah.
right? About when you've been raised as when there wasn't resource and support that was
Mm-hmm.
dependable around you, and you've become very self-reliant
Mm-hmm.
and can tolerate tremendous discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
the appropriate place of what's when to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When to sit with, I mean, of course, if someone was my client, it's like, okay, if you tend to be someone who's self-reliant, ask for help. Like that's your practice. And if you're someone who can't sit with discomfort and be with yourself, be with yourself. Right? So it's not going to be a
Yeah.
pat answer, but I'm curious about that for you. It's like, what did you learn around when do you always ask for help? Is that your practice in terms of always talking to God? Or
Yeah. I
like,
mean, I definitely feel like coming back to prayer that I have such a strong practice in that, but even then I still forget sometimes.
Mhm,
It's like I have a chanupa, I have an instrument of prayer, and I forget to
mhm,
go pray with my pipe all the time. And I think it also brings up that the privilege, like what a privileged person I am to have an Erica, to
mhm,
have a Maya, to have an Emmett, to have these people in my life that can be so present, and when you ask for help, actually show up and do the
mhm,
help thing.
mhm.
Not everybody has that.
Right.
And I know that that's not everybody's reality. And like, I think that it also all comes back to this big codependency prayer that we're
Mm,
all in too, of just like allowing people in. It's like we can also get ourselves wound up in the idea that we don't have help. Well, they can't really help me. And like
mm,
before I even ask, like, well, if I say this, then they're going to think this and I'm going to manage all their feelings about it. But it's like, it's all about the vulnerability and letting people see you, really letting people in. And maybe they're not going to be able to hold you. Maybe they're not going to be able to hold that. I mean, I think that there are things that people can't hold with me,
mhm,
There's there's levels of depression that I get into that are really hard for people to know what to do with.
mm,
And I think are hard for me to feel like whatever they're trying to do, I see that everyone's trying to help, that it's just like, that's not it,
mhm,
like, when you're in that dark place. So,
mm,
I feel very fortunate to have people in my life that I feel like I can crumble and say, I need a lot of help. I feel very fortunate in my life that I could also say, I'm depressed. I'm in the dark right now, and I don't even know what I need. It helps right now to just tell you that I
mhm,
don't know what I need. And, it's like, can you receive
mm,
all of the love that is being offered to you when it's being offered? Because maybe somebody doesn't know exactly what to do with your depression. I feel very, very lucky that I know how to ask for help when I can. And also it doesn't always, it doesn't always happen for me either.
mhm,
And I don't know, I try to be really present in those moments to know like, well, this is my time to be with me. Then that means it's my time to be with me and to love myself up. I feel very grateful to be getting older,
mm,
that I can just be like, maybe I might just be okay with getting back under the covers and just stopping for the day, or, watching some fucking TV show that just is going to help me feel good in this moment and not feel like my whole life's going to fall apart if I don't fill in the blank, or whoever, the people that work for me are going to be like, oh, great. Now everything's going to fall apart, and it's just
mhm,
like where we all started. I'm not holding everything. Like, can I
mhm,
just stop?
mhm.
Just really trying to feel like everything's actually going to get better.
We're close to ending. And I would love to know for you, what is embodied freedom? And you spoke to it indirectly, but if you want to concisely.
I think embodied freedom is really following your passion in every moment and living your life based on what really excites you and telling the truth. I think it's just really like at this point in my life, I'm so grateful for the ways that I notice, ooh, this feels edgy and scary and vulnerable, and like learning how to lean into that and tell the truth. And that I might lose people along the way, and like that's okay. I want to be me all the way. All the way. And like even if being me all the way in that moment leads to me going, oh, that's not really me, actually. Like I'm just learning, and I'm like letting it flow, and trying my best to do that with grace all the time. So it's like not feeling like I got to go back and do research before I share, but just like letting it happen as it happens, and loving myself through all of that. And just like not going back over it afterwards and feeling like, oh, I should have said that differently or done it differently. It's just like, wow, I was really just myself. I was really just doing it in that moment, and now I'm this. And I love changing. I love learning. And I really want to do that in a way that feels loving to me. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Do you want to sing
Oh
now?
yeah.
Or do you want to
sing the Dumbo
do
song?
you want to, okay, you'll sing it now?
Yeah, why not?
Awesome. So this is just, I've gotten to hear you sing this a couple times, and it's just so incredibly moving. So what I would like the listeners to use this as a practice. So if you're driving, maybe you listen to it again later, but turn your attention inward and just feel yourself, feel your heart, actually receive on a cellular level this song, and see how that is for you. And pay attention to your breath as she's singing.
This song, the reason that we sing this song in ceremony and the moment that we sing it in ceremony is like, no matter what your relationship is with your mother, like this is your mother's prayer for you, no matter what. And this is the mother love, the true essence of divine mother love. So that's why we sing it. Baby mine, don't you cry. Baby mine, dry your eyes. Rest your head close to my heart, never to part, baby of mine. Little one, when you play, pay no heed what they say. Let your eyes sparkle and shine, never a tear, baby of mine. If they knew all about you, they'd end up loving you too. All those same people who scold you, what they'd give just for the right to hold you. From your head down to your toes, you're not much, goodness knows, but you're so precious to me, sweet as can be, baby of mine. Takoyasi.
Thank you. Such a gift.
My pleasure. I sang that to Sunny every night. And while I was singing, Billie Jean went,
Yeah.
oh, sweet.
So
Thank you for
sweet.
asking for that.
Absolutely. Thank you. And how can people find you?
You can find me through my website. I make perfume and sacred potions and scents made with prayer. So my website is godseyeoils.com. I'm on Instagram at godseyeoils. Erica and I have a prayer circle group called Made of Stars, and you can find us at madeofstars.co and join us and be a part of our beautiful web. You're all included. So, yeah.
So much love. Oh, thank you so much. So good to see you.
Thank you so much. I love you so much. Thank you for just being with me. It's the greatest gift. It's what else is there to do? Just want to sit here with you and talk it all out until it turns to dust. To stardust.
I look forward to getting dusty with you soon. Thank you for joining us. If you like this episode, please like, rate, and review it and share it with your friends. If you'd like to stay connected, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at LaidOPEN Podcast. That's LaidPodcast, all one word. You can also go to charnacassell.com and join my newsletter or my free monthly energy clear out group. And you'll receive resources as well as information about courses, etc. And at passionatelife.org, you can read more about my private practice and my approach to healing. This has been LaidOPEN Podcast with your host, Charna Cassell. We all have different capacities, but I believe in our capacity to grow and change together. Until next time.